Ankita Pokharel. I welcome you all to today's class. In today's reading session, we'll read a story entitled Forgiveness of the King and also read a letter on apology. Let's begin the class now.
Let's begin reading a story, Forgiveness of the King. Once upon a time, there was a king. One day, he was on a tour with his ministers, including his royal security and courtiers. He was taking a rest under the shade of a mango tree in a mango garden. Suddenly, a stone hit him on his forehead. It started bleeding immediately. The king had no idea who threw the stone at him. He was experiencing an intolerable pain. The security left to find the person who threw the stone. After a long search, they found only an old lady there. They asked if she had thrown any stone recently. Yes, she replied, I threw a stone at the mango tree. They asked her, Did you throw any stone at the king? The woman didn't answer but turned pale. The woman was arrested and presented before the king. She trembled with immense fear and prayed that they would not kill her. She saw the blood flowing down the king's face. After seeing this, she became more upset and felt hopeless. What will happen to me? She thought. The king very calmly asked her, Did you throw the stone at me? She replied, Your Majesty, I threw the stone at the mango tree. Why? The king asked. She explained in fear, Your Majesty, my child has been starving for 2 days. I was collecting food for him but could not find any. I hoped if I threw the stone at the mango tree, a mango would fall and I could feed my son. Your Majesty, the king hit you by mistake. The woman bowed down before the king, begging an excuse for her mistake. The king was kind-hearted, so he understood the situation very well. He forgave her mistake and ordered his security personnel not to punish her. Instead, he ordered them to give her some money and food. So in the story, we first encounter the incident. What was the incident? The incident was that a king gets struck by a stone while resting under a mango tree, and his guards search for the culprit and apprehend an old woman who admits to throwing a stone at the tree, right? That was the incident. The next part of the story follows up with the woman's plight. What did she explain? The woman explains that she was desperate to find food for her starving child and hoped that a mango would fall down if she hit the tree. The stone had unfortunately hit the king instead. The next part is followed up with the king's response. Here, despite the injury, the king, instead of punishing the woman, shows compassion. He understands her dire situation and forgives her mistake. He even provides her with money and food. So if we have to critically analyze the text, what do we find here? The text is all about the theme of forgiveness. Here, the story emphasizes the importance of forgiveness and compassion. The king's decision to forgive the woman highlights the value of understanding and also the value of being empathetic. The second thing is social commentary. How do you think is social commentary explained in here? The story also touches upon the issue of poverty and hunger, right? And it also shows how desperation can sometimes lead people to take different measures. Also, character development. The king is portrayed as a wise and benevolent ruler who exemplifies qualities like compassion and understanding. So this is what we have to own within. And what's the moral lesson? The story touches a valuable moral lesson, and it's all about forgiveness and the need to consider the circumstances of others before passing any kind of judgment. So overall, the forgiveness of king is a simple yet powerful story that conveys a message of compassion and understanding for other situation, right? Since we have already read the story together, rewriting the sentences in correct order would not be difficult for you, and this one is your assignment. So here we see some pairs of sentences given. Let's read it out. Number A, I have an extra pencil. I don't or I do not have an extra pencil. I have completed it. I haven't or have not completed it. So this don't is the contracted form of do not. Likewise, haven't is the contracted form of have not. Okay, so we can write either of this whenever we are using them in our sentences. Likewise, doesn't is the contracted form of does not. All of them are used in negative sentences. Those sentences which have the use of no, not, don't, haven't, done, doesn't, did not, all of the words that come from not are termed to be negatives. Okay, the sentences do not get judged by the meaning they deliver, but if there is any use of negative words like no, not, don't, etc., we term them to become negative sentences. So what did you notice here? We wrote I have, see, doesn't, see, didn't, I haven't. Right? So what could be the meaning of this? Let's read that down in detail. The sentences that we just read were all formation of negative sentence through the positive ones. Okay? So whenever there are singular nouns like he, she, or any singular noun, what do we use? Doesn't or hasn't. Okay, for nouns or subjects like I, we, they, or any plural subjects or nouns, we use don't or haven't to convert positive sentences to negative. Also didn't in case of past tense. Here is also the same thing in case of past tense didn't. Okay, let's convert the sentences to negative. He seems very happy. He doesn't. Now when we use doesn't, we use verb 1. Verb 1 means the base form of the verb seems. That is seem. He doesn't seem very happy. She was present at the party. She was not present at the party. We have talked about it. We haven't talked about it, or we have not talked about it. Both can be written. They are playing cricket. They aren't playing cricket, or they are not playing cricket. My mother helped me in the kitchen yesterday. My mother, now negative form, didn't. We use verb 1, didn't help me in the kitchen yesterday. The teacher is teaching grammar. The teacher isn't teaching grammar. This is the present continuous form. I can finish the work in time. I cannot or can't finish the work in time. I'm prepared to do this task. I am not prepared to do this task. We have seen him here. We haven't or we have not seen him there. My sister bought a car last week. My sister didn't, past tense, bought past tense, didn't buy a car last week, since buy is the verb 1 form of bought. Okay, they sent him to the market to buy fruits. They didn't. After didn't we always use verb 1. What's the verb 1 for sent? Yes, it's sent. They didn't send him to the market to buy fruits. Now let's read a text. It's a letter actually. It's written by Janet MacDonald to Miss Shaw. Written on March 18th. The address is 19 Burns Avenue, Pebbles, Scotland. Dear Miss Shaw, thank you for your letter. I'm sorry to hear you're having problems with the flat. I can't solve them all, but I'll try to be helpful. Furniture, you liked it when you moved in. You told me so, but now you have changed your mind. Well, I'm sorry, I can't help you there. Heating. I agree, the flat can be cold in winter. I lived there myself for 20 years, so I know. But I always used electric fires and I'm afraid you must do the same. But get someone to look at the windows by all means. Kitchen? Yes, it probably does need painting. Your idea is a good one. Please buy the paint and send me the bill, but make sure you choose a suitable color. Nothing too modern, please. And why not do the bathroom at the same time? I'm sorry I can't come to inspect the flat personally, but I do live rather a long way off, you know. Yours sincerely, Janet MacDonald. So Janet MacDonald is talking and trying to solve some issues that Miss Shaw has with the flat that he has to offer her. Firstly, he explains about the things that she has probably mentioned in her previous letter, and he directly gets into the topic. The first topic he gets into is about furniture, where he says that she had liked it when she had moved in, but since she might have explained that she does not like it, she has no choice but to live along with it, as he says that he can't help with this part. Okay, next he jumps into the topic of heating. He agrees to the fact that it gets cold in the winter, and he suggests her to use electric fires, and also asks her to look at the windows by all the means. Okay, and next he quickly jumps off to the topic about kitchen, which she could have probably mentioned in her previous letter, and he says that it actually needs painting, and says her to find a suitable color and get it painted, and he also suggests her to get the bathroom painted at the same time. And he also lastly apologizes that he cannot be nearby to inspect, and he asks her to get everything done and get the bills sent to him. So here are some questions related to the text. They are pretty much of what we have already discussed, so I'm sure you'll be able to write the answers to these questions on your own. Let's move to exercise C given. Complete the sentences using the words in the box. Let's try doing it together. That dash fire is no use. It doesn't dash properly. That, what do you think would be appropriate here? That electric fire is no use. It doesn't work properly. That dash isn't really dash for this old flat. That central heating isn't really suitable for this old flat. The dash is a bit of problem. It's in such bad dash. Okay. The work is a bit of a problem. It's in such bad condition. You offered to help me solve some of these dash. What did you change your dash? Some of these problems. Why did you change your mind? How did your class go today? If you have any suggestions or feedback, feel free to reach out to us through the address learning@dearwalk.edu.np. See you in the next class with another lesson. Thank you.